Okay, hi everyone. It's already 3, so I'll just start the webinar ahead. Okay, this will probably take place for about 30 minutes. My name is Joanne. I'm the course chair for the Diploma in Integrated Facility Management. And today, on behalf of the team, I'll be presenting about 2 courses, which is ABS, Architectural Technology and Building Services, and of course, the course where I come from, Integrated Facility Management. Before I start, I think there is this slide that we have flashed while we are waiting. Basically to actually explain how the pandemic has changed and how the built environment has played a part in this whole COVID-19. I think 2020 has been a very challenging year for everyone, and it has also been a very testing and reflecting year, I guess, for many people who have said that. I think the good thing about the pandemic, I wouldn't say good, but to look at it positively, the built environment hasn't been much affected by the pandemic in terms of employment. But I think in terms of the dormitory issues and the foreign workers, I think this is something that faces the country a lot on how this particular sector has heavily relied on foreign talent. I think going forward, like I say, as it's a year of reflection, many people in the industry particularly want to perhaps look at how we change our way of working and processes, and also how digitalization can perhaps change the way we work and leave off our reliance on foreign talent. I think I'll just go on to brief more on the 2 courses so that at any point, if you have any questions, please let us know. I think there's a comment section where you can go. And of course, at any time, if you think I'm going too fast, please let me know as well so that I can actually adjust my pace. So without further ado, I'll just start. Like I say, welcome to Temasek Polytechnic. I hope you join us soon. Basically, I think if you have been to the other webinars, you would have known that we are actually a very vibrant polytechnic. We have many CCAs and we have many other program offerings that cater to different aspirations and needs of the young people. And we hope that we play a role in forging our future to come. So, like I said, we are actually going to start. Okay, so what I have on my slide here is that the 2 courses has actually set up a Telegram group for O-level leavers or even IT candidates or even private candidates who are actually confused about what courses to select. I hope you can actually scan the QR code if you have any questions, so we can ask us on Telegram, which is a bit more private. I think also because as you heard from the other webinars, you probably have heard that we have many courses offering, and sometimes you might be very confused as to what to choose. I think not just pertaining to Polytechnic itself, it can also be for junior colleges and even ITEs or even private studies, like what are my options and how we can actually ride through these together. Monday will be the result. So I guess from now until Monday, which you have after Monday, the timeline is actually very short, and you have to input about 12 choices to actually decide which place do you want to go. So this Telegram group is actually being set up to help inform people. And I think because we also have students and graduates who can also help you shed some light on how they've made their decisions and probably guide you along in your decision-making process to make this less confused and difficult for you. So this QR code will actually appear on every slide on later on in my presentations. I'll be actually in the corner of the slide if you look at it. So at any point, like I said, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to let us know, and we will be happy to address them. Okay, I will go through life in Polytechnic. Okay, basically, I mentioned just now briefly about the life you will be expecting in Temasek Polytechnic. Okay, these are the pictures. The one on top is actually taken in Amsterdam, where we have students who won a competition, and they went to Amsterdam to actually meet up with a company to actually brief them about their ideas and to materialize these ideas in TP itself. We had a lot of fun. So I think although you come in to understand more about the courses, but the 3 years here, you have to be very mindful that it's not just about studying. It's also about widening your exposure and giving you the experience and, of course, to forge relationship, not just internally with your peers, but also with the adults and, of course, the industry, so that you have a plan for your future to see where it will lead you to. The bottom picture is actually taken in Japan. We have visited this smart home. It's a little town that there's many smart technologies that was being implemented, and the students actually went there to have a try at all the smart technology and how a smart home will look like, which is fundamentally about what these two courses we are today, about how you build them, and in the end, how do you operate and maintain them. So these are, of course, we have many pictures, but to give you a little glimpse of how Polytechnic is not just about studying, it's just these two pictures. Okay, and what I've mentioned earlier on, you have that little QR code at the corner. And like I said, at any point, if you have any questions, you can actually scan them to join us on Telegram, or you can actually post in the comment section to hear us out. So expeditions also, this one is we do not just do trips for learning and fun. We also do our community work where we take on youth expedition project where our students come into contact with students from developing countries, and we do our part to help them, and we mingle around and we do exchanges to make sure that, like I said, it's all about the exposure, and the experience and exposure you get in TP is actually to propel you forward so that be in further studies, hoping to give you an edge over the rest of the peers to where you go and in the end in the industry. We also have CCAs. I think if you look at the TP website, we have so many CCAs catering to different types of people and different types of need. If you are the sporty kind, of course, you can go for sports. I think TP is one of the polytechnic that we have won many competitions, and we do play a role in grooming our students to help them even develop in this area while trying to maintain that balance between academic and, of course, their other development. So these are just two examples where we have Dragon Boat, we have rafting, of course we have the music box, and we have drums, summer drums, and these are some of the CCAs which are very popular among the students, which you might already have heard of, because when we have students coming in, these are the other kind of development that we hope that they will get, not just in terms of academic and practical skills. And of course, in today's context, I think employers are looking at more well-rounded individuals for them to actually look into, I'm not just about studying, and I'm also about how I can be a different individual with our own characters and how I bring different value into the workplace. Okay, I'm just going to give you a little short video about built environment. I think the whole built environment is a very huge sector. If you look at the whole life cycle of a building, we start off as the design stage, the sales of land. And in Singapore, where we have land scarcity happening in place, there's a lot of planning that goes into place that I think as Singaporeans, we are very proud of. I think if you have been to other countries, of course, probably not in 2020, but in other years where you have been to other countries and you get a comparison of how we have done our master planning, you must say that I think we have done a pretty good job. We are very organized, structured, and systematic in terms of how we plan out our land uses, and of course, what we do in terms of the land use and how do we maximize our efficiency in terms of the land spaces. So sit back, enjoy this little short video to actually give you more idea or a glimpse of what the built environment is.
There's a builder in all of us, be you a child, a student, athlete, artist, homemaker, entrepreneur. There's a builder in all of us. He's the one who sees space as an opportunity. He's the one who sees a problem and solves it purposefully. He's the one who inspires us to imagine something that doesn't exist and go build it with trust and reliability. It's the builder in us who seeks to make things happen, almost always in collaboration. Like building a bridge to connect people and places. Like growing greenery in never-seen-before places. And designing facilities that bring smiles to many faces. The builder in us sees technology as necessary and views innovation as mandatory. That's how he knows how to build on the past and build for the future. Build on our hopes and our nation's dreams. For a better home, a better life, and a better tomorrow.
The video was actually done by BCA, Building and Construction Authority, which is the lead agency governing the built environment in Singapore. If you look at the videos, you will realize that I believe there's a builder in each and every one of us. It just depends on what we are building. People who are in the built environment are usually very intrigued by how we have used our land spaces and how our land spaces have actually helped businesses and individuals to grow. I think even in today's context, no matter how digitalized a business is, the built environment where facilities is needed is still something that people cannot run away. So you will realize that it doesn't matter in which sector or in which industry you belong to. Basically, the built environment people definitely has a part to play in different sectors and different businesses. Okay, so I will just go ahead. I think this is a question for us just to ponder upon. How will the buildings of tomorrow look like? This is actually a landscape of Singapore, one of our very prominent and beautiful cityscape that I think the world looks at. In this particular picture, you will see Marina Bay Sands, of course, the Art Science Museum, and the very various different skyscrapers that we have in the whole area. I think 50 years ago, if you look at this picture, certainly it will look very different. This area is actually reclaimed land, and it goes to show on the wonders and magic that the built environment people are. Just Marina Bay Sands itself is actually a marvel on its own on how we built such a magnificent structure, and there was so much engineering and of course the building sciences that go into to give us all these buildings that we have in place. And if you look at the built environment, the process doesn't stop there. Although it's just built, but it goes on to see how we go on to maintain our buildings to make sure that 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or even 50 years later, the cityscape that looks like this today will continue to look like this even 50 years later, or not, if not even better. So, and this is what is exciting about the built environment. You will realize that depending on your character and your enthusiasm and your interests, there's always different roles that you can play in the entire life cycle of the building. Okay, if you're someone for business, of course, the real estate and the facilities management part is going to come into play on how you actually manage your building to maximize profit and bring in revenue for different businesses. I think in this picture, you also see the little connections that we have right at the middle. It goes to show how, in today's context, because of technology, all the buildings are getting more and more connected in terms of businesses and in terms of individual. Today, the buildings can actually start to talk to you in a way to let you know how they feel and if they need additional maintenance, whether the design has done them good, or like this is something that we need to learn to actually avoid such design in the future. And this is what these two calls are about. Basically, it actually teach you how to come into play and play your role in businesses and in buildings. So your learning journey with us, you realize that we actually equip you and with all the knowledge that you need, and of course the practical skills. We often wish our students will explore more, and we will also help you with this whole journey of exploration to know what the future buildings will look like. How is it that the existing building will actually catch up to actually play their role in increasingly complex kind of building environment. And of course, hopefully, the knowledge that you gain will last you for a very long, long time. I'm just going to bring this QR code up again so that, like I said, if you have any questions that you have, do join us in this Telegram group. In fact, the Telegram group will be open all the way through JAE as well. So even after you have questions, after you have received your results, we'll be here for you to actually answer any of your queries that you have. I'm going to go into ABS, which is Architectural Technology and Building Services. This is a new course with its very first intake in 2021 April. And I'm just going to run you through on what this course has to offer. I'm just going to play a very short video to give you a brief introduction of what ABS in short is about. And like I said, if you have any questions, the QR code is right at the corner, and you can actually scan that to ask us any questions you have. Enjoy the video.
Welcome to Diploma in Architectural Technology and Building Services. Be fascinated by green architecture, virtual design, and intelligent building systems. Here, you embark on creative technologies that shape buildings, green buildings that help combat climate change and sustain the environment. You will acquire digital skills in building information modeling, bioclimatic design, performance simulations, systems integration, and building automation. With such skills, you can be part of Singapore's sustainable smart nation. Indeed, you may also be eligible for the World Skills Competition for BIM. This opportunity is unique to this diploma. Graduates look forward to rewarding careers in architectural firms, infrastructure engineering, green building consultancies, and building management companies. Be part of digital design and smart infrastructure. Join us at the Diploma in Architectural Technology and Building Services today.
Okay, so if you look at the video, it gives you a little idea about what are the subjects that's being offered in this ABS. So if you look at it, basically what we are really trying to actually do to help our graduates is that to actually infuse in all the technological advances, and we do a little bit of that in conjunction with the design principles that you need to know, like I said, during the design stage of a building. And of course, after that, like I said, because with all the technology in place and how the building is going to talk to us, all these things is actually complemented by the technology that we put in place. So the video itself gives you a very quick introduction of the different classifications of subjects and content area that you will learn. And of course, the things to look forward to when you join the course.
Welcome.
So sorry.
Welcome.
Okay, so just to give you a little context of information to how, I think because of the recent, I think in 2020 when we first started, there was this Australian bushfire that we talk about, which was very bad. Of course, before it was being overshadowed by COVID-19, but the point is, with or without COVID-19, the world actually looks at how we spend our resources, how we utilize them, and whether you like it or not, our fossil fuels are actually limited in terms of quantity, and so green buildings become a very definitive factor to play when you want to fight environmental pollution and stuff like that. So in the world context, if you look at it in terms of global emissions, buildings around the world contribute to about 40% of the total global emissions that was being emitted around the world. So we actually contributed, like here I say, close to 40% of your global final energy use. Okay, GHG emissions as well, your greenhouse gases, and of course we contribute about 50% of the global wealth. Like I said, the built environment is something that is very heavy in terms of involvement. Practically every businesses involve us, and if you look at businesses who want to expand, eventually built environment is something that they have to take, okay, in terms of real estate and in terms of the facilities itself. I think one fun fact which you can go and look for it, in Singapore, the richest person in Singapore all have a part to play in assets management and in terms of built environment. So please do go and take a look and you'll realize what I mean. So why join ABS? I think, like I said, there has been a lot of emphasis on sustainability and of course smart nation that Singapore very much wants to be involved in. So we hope to actually do our part to help create a sustainable smart future together with our youth. You can also be a certified professional with a wide range of job prospects. In this particular course, they do offer a few certification, which is the fire safety manager, and of course, in terms of energy auditing as well. Okay, and of course, we are offering an up-to-date interdisciplinary curriculum, where if you look at what in the video that we've introduced just now, there has been many subject areas that allows you to actually cross functions in the built environment sector, okay? And of course, in this course, we have actually put much emphasis in trying to help our students to create a very impressive portfolio of projects in your 3 years, so that upon graduation, you can use these portfolios either for further studies opportunities or even your further studies. And in this course, we also emphasize more of design and technology. Basically, to sum it all up, the subjects are being classified into either design and technology. So you get a very unique and comprehensive course that TP is offering, which I think you couldn't find elsewhere in Singapore. So we have actually taken a very bold step to actually combine two very unique sectors, which is technology and design, so that we help the built environment actually to combat your climate changes and environmental degradation. For skill sets, we are looking at digital architecture. Okay, basically, these are some of the subjects that emphasize on what we are trying to do here. Basically, in terms of just architectural design, of course, like I said, the technology part plays a very important part in ABS. So we have actually subjects like virtual design, building design. I think gone are days where you will really use your pencil and your paper to just sketch. Basically, now everything has been digitalized, and it actually helped people to see more. I think back in older times, it was actually difficult to see exactly how the building will look like. But for now, because of the advancement in technology, things will drastically change where, even before the building is built, you can actually see exactly where the water are and how the aircon flow is. And that's the part about your eco-architecture and green building assessment, and of course, the smart systems that is in. I think one very interesting thing to note is that while Jewel was being built, I think even before it was built, just at the design stage where it was being conceptualized, the building actually looks exactly like the drawing board, like as it was today. And it was a marvel in the built environment that something that was being designed at that very, like 8-10 years ago would eventually come to reality 10 years later in the exact form and model. And I guess that is the wonder of the built environment. At the end of your 3 years, I think you will be wondering, what would I be able to do? So I'm going to show you a very quick video of one of our students, in fact, a group of students, final year project, where they came up with this particular video and design concept for a particular competition. And like I said, please enjoy the video. Oops. So you will, I think from this video, you also see that from either you're from O-level or, IT students, it gives a little glimpse of what are things you're going to learn after the 3 years and what you're able to accomplish, of course, as a graduate. And of course, this will be the kind of work that you're expecting, when you graduate or leave TP. In terms of career prospect, we have students in building automation as a technologist, and of course, a certified energy manager auditor. There's also areas in design consultancy where you can actually work as architectural assistants, even assistant engineers, green building consultants, if let's say your calling is for green building. And of course, there's the digital team in built environment where we talk about you being a BIM modeler. BIM actually stands for Building Information Modeling, which is I think the software that's being used currently for most of the design teams in the built environment. We also have simulation specialists where we look at the building performance even before it's built. And this is something that is only achievable in today's context, because if you look at 20 years ago, certainly building simulation is something that is not being able to achieve because technological advances is not there. And I guess that's how the work scope of the built environment has changed drastically. These are some of our internship opportunities. Basically, what we have here are the companies that are actually our existing intern companies and partners. Okay, in some of them, you see DP Architects. Of course, you see Squire Mac, which is in M&E. We also have internship opportunities in the government agencies like your NEA, and of course, air conditioning and ventilation like Mitsubishi, and of course, Train. In terms of building management systems, we have Honeywell, even CNA Group, and Johnson Controls. To give you a little glimpse, these are our alumni who have went on to further their studies. This actually gives you a perspective on the kind of further education that our students go into, ranging from NUS, NTU, and of course SCTD. They can go into building science, architecture, mechanical engineering, and of course product engineering, product development as well. I think for all these things, I think you would have known that we have a little individual chat that is happening at our virtual open house. If you are keen to speak to, the course to find out more about what these people do and of course what the internship entails, please join us in the virtual open house. This is our last day today. Okay, I'm going to go into IFM, which stands for Diploma in Integrated Facility Management. So these are the few areas that we will go into. Okay, just give you a little introduction about facilities management. I think in the previous year open house, we have actually faced many parents and students who come on to ask us, what exactly is facilities management and what do I do in it? If you look at today's context, I think what I've presented earlier on was all about the design stage and how you're going to put in play a building on a bare land. But I think with all the buildings that are being built today in this context, it doesn't matter which businesses you are in. As long as you have a building, you definitely need the facilities management people to do the management for you. So this little picture that I have actually found, it actually gives you a very good context of what facilities management entail. Gone are the days where you walk around to look for flickering lights, waiting for complaints to happen. In today's context, facilities management basically happen at a high level, at the top tier, where we look at graphs and dashboards to actually find out what is exactly happening in the building and to actually give us a glimpse of how we can maximize profit for the businesses itself. So in this little picture, you will see computers, you will see graphs, and you will see all the pie charts, because today context, the buildings are able to give us many data to actually inform us how they are doing and how best we can optimize their performance in the days to come. And exactly this is what I've briefly mentioned in facilities management. In this diploma, we actually categorize our subjects into 4 main areas, which is something that we're very proud of. The course is actually internationally recognized. So we categorize our subjects into leadership and strategy, business and finance, project management, and of course, operations and maintenance. I'll run you through more on this, but to give you more details on the subjects itself, it's best to visit our virtual open house website and also to look at the diploma website, where it will give you really the details of the subject that's being offered in these 4 different areas. And I think in the scope of engineering, we are also one of the courses that is a bit less engineering per se. Okay, we go into more management and of course building sciences, because this is what we are talking about when you go into a building. So why join IFM? We are the first diploma in the world to be accredited by IFMA as an accredited associate degree program. So this accreditation is actually recognized worldwide, which very much reflect on how our graduates are able to work overseas in facilities management, managing different buildings all over the world. I'm proud to say that today we have graduates in Maldives, in US, in all different types of building per se, to actually serve their knowledge in terms of facilities management. And like what I say, it doesn't matter which building you are in, be it whether you're in a school, whether you're in airports, even if you're online business, you will definitely need a space to be in, and that space certainly will need facilities management. I think even a fun fact for you, even 7-Eleven has their own facilities management companies where they are being served by this group of people to help them maintain their store. So likewise for the hotels, and even Jewel and Marina Bay Sands. So when we look at more and more complex buildings like this, what happens is that you realize that their facilities management team is huge, and there's a lot of technology and of course people behind these buildings, working behind to actually make this building operational, particularly in during COVID-19. When circuit breaker kicks in, you will realize that many profession actually has to come to a complete close. But when it comes to facilities management, it's actually deemed as essential services, and none of the facilities management people is able to actually stop work. In fact, I met a friend who came back from Macau. So funnily, he actually managed this whole suite of casinos and hotels in Macau. And I think what was actually positive about the pandemic was that he came back to Singapore because of the pandemic, but he did not lose his job. Basically, the facilities there still require people to actually manage them, and he was remotely managing those sets of facilities in Singapore, while his facilities is actually in Macau through the use of technology. And I guess it's very amazing, right? So when I spoke to him, I find that very intriguing, and it could only be possible because, I mean, he was in facilities management. This is a little graph to show you how the businesses of facilities management is ever growing. And we are here in 2020. And if you look at here, 7 years later, the graph is continuously growing. I think what the graph did not put in place was the pandemic. But I think even with the pandemic, we see businesses growing. Until today, while many sectors were being affected by the hiring crunch and retrenchment, facilities management still remain as a sector that is facing manpower crunch. And in fact, they're still hiring. So in today's context, if you look at ads and advertising ads, hiring ads, you realize that different facilities management companies and developers and even building owners are still hiring for facilities management. That goes to show how the businesses is growing. In the Singapore context, the business is one area that is being identified to show the greatest growth in built environment. So these are some of the career prospects. My graduates, if they choose to work in the facilities management industry, they probably work as a property executive, facilities executive, and strata executive, all the little basically in terms of building. Very much depends on your interest as well. Someone who are bored easily would want to take on a more complex building like the skyscrapers that I showed you just now in one of the slides where we have the skyscrapers. There are also people who choose to have a more different work kind balance kind of lifestyle, and they could go into like your condominium management, even your HDB's management as well. So if you look at it, if you turn around you today, you will see different buildings around, and people just need facilities management people to actually help them with their businesses. These are just some of our internship companies that you see. So in this whole list of companies, you realize that we have Resort World, we have Suntec City, of course, Changi Airport Group used to be one of our biggest intern. Of course, now they are going through their lull period. We used to have Kingsman, who actually marry events management and facilities management, which is something like a trend that was actually trending before events management really took a huge hit because of COVID-19. We also have Knight Frank, Maple Tree, Universal Studios, Savills, Capital Land, CDL, and even Shangri-La. So these are some. If you look at the mix of the companies we have, basically it depicts a variety of buildings, and they are all very different and diverse. I even have Parkway Pantai. If you're not familiar with them, they are actually the people behind the Mount Elizabeth Hospitals and Mount Novena. So I even have Amara and Frasers. And Frasers, of course, are the heartland malls that you see today, which you are probably very familiar with. And of course, I have AWS, which is Amazon, who even as an IT company requires people to manage their facilities and data centers. So if you look at it, like I said, we typically exist in every sector. And basically, that's what I meant when you look at our internship companies. So for further studies, I didn't put down all the courses that we have, but basically the direct course to admit to is actually a Bachelor of Science Honours program in NUS, Project and Facilities Management. For that, it's a 4 years program, but if you come from the course and you join them, it's a close to 1 year exemption. Of course, we have other programs. Today, my medalists are actually in the business school, in engineering, of course, in industrial design, real estate. So these are some of the common programs that my graduates go into. But like I said, the direct program with the NUS where we offer up to 1 year exemption. Some of my alumni, Huan Wei is actually in Maldives now, and he's a project manager. I don't know whether he has come back to Singapore because of the pandemic. We also have An Qi, who is actually in Marina Bay Sands, which is a hotel. I think you're probably familiar. We have Benjamin, who is now busy as a condominium manager, which I can't emphasize enough, the different buildings and the different businesses we are in. And this gives a different variety and opportunities for our alumni and graduates to venture into. We also have Serene and Tiffany, who went on to set up their own company, Oma Event. They were trying to marry facilities management and events management, but unfortunately, currently, because of the pandemic, in terms of events management, that side of business has actually slowed down. We hope that it will pick up soon. We have Zidane, who is now busy as a quantity surveyor, okay, very much in the design stage as well. And we have Jia Ying, who is actually going on to further her studies and as a teaching assistant at NUS currently. So I'm going to bring up the Telegram group again. Okay, I'm going to end soon. So basically now we have the Engine Scholarship. Okay, this is unique to Engine School. If you have been to the other webinars, you realize that in terms of all the other schools, engineering actually provide one of the largest volume of scholarship, and it's 3,000 per year, renewable, subjected to terms and conditions, and of course your results. Okay, and of course they need to partake in the Temasek Leadership Program. We also have the Building and Construction Authority Scholarship. Okay, the BCA sponsorship. All this comes with bond. Not the NTP Engine Scholarship. We also have the Wan Fu Gong Scholarship from IFM. Also no bond. So I think this scholarship portion actually allows you to plan through what kind of career and options you have, after graduating, even before graduating. What are the financial helps that you can get? Okay, I'm going to put here my QR code for ABS and IFM. Okay, the QR code typically lead you to the diploma own site. So from the diploma own site itself, you will be able to find out more information, which are some of the things I didn't cover in details in my presentation. Of course, the subjects, what do you study in year 1, year 2, year 3, what are some of things, how are the curriculum like, and what is the total number of subjects that I will get to, and of course, more experiences from our alumni. From the website, you can find out more about their experience and how they have gone on to do more things after graduation. So I'm going to just leave here. This is my last slide, and I will go on to address the Q&A. And like I said, at any time that you feel that you have urgent questions to ask, please join us on the Telegram group, and we'll be happy to actually answer them. So let me go to the Q&A. Okay, let me look at the comments to see what are some of the... Okay, for Isabel, percentage of this course is business related. Okay, for ABS, we have the life skills. I wouldn't say that there's actually much business element. For IFM itself, I would say closely to 50%. Things that are business related are like your contract management. So we do learn a little about the law, legislation, and contracts arrangement, because in every building, especially once it's being built, there's a lot of transaction going in place to actually help the building be operational. So project management, sustainable facilities management, we got quality services. So all these are all business related subjects which is needed for facilities management, because if you look at it, we are dealing with people and transaction. So there is a need for these people to pick up the soft skills of it and to actually do their budgeting and financing, so that they can actually brief building owners and help them along with how to manage the buildings properly. So you will see that this is what the percentage of the building in terms of business related courses are. The other questions is that, will I need to learn a lot of maths in these questions, in these courses? Okay, because we are in School of Engineering, certainly, and if you look at the building itself, there is certain sciences to it. For both courses, you have to actually got to do your engineering mathematics 1 and 2. The good thing is that we actually put in a lot of help for students who actually need help in their mathematics. So if you look at mathematics-wise, then you will realize that these are the 2 mathematical courses that you need to do. The rest of the subjects that is related to mathematics are perhaps your ACMV, your air conditioning. If you look at Singapore context, there's no one building that can do the air conditioning. So in terms of air conditioning, there is a little bit of mathematics there as well. In terms of energy management as well, there's a bit of calculation there. So these are the little bits and pieces of mathematics that is in existence in both courses. Is AMS a PFP course? I think so. If you are going for PFP, which is for the rest, the Poly Foundation program, what happens is that you need to meet the eligibility and then you go on to select your course. So AMS, if I'm not wrong, is definitely a PFP course that is in Temasek Polytechnic. Yeah. For the next question, I'm keen to be an architect next time. How will ABS prepare me for this? Just like in my sharing, I did talk about the portfolios. I think also if you look at the subject itself that is being designed in ABS, where we actually combine building design and technology, that part also help you to set a little foundation about design elements and also how technology can help you with the design. And if you look at the one interesting point about ABS is that they continuously aim to help students build their portfolios. And for the courses in Singapore, when you want to enter into architecture, portfolios are a must. So I think a good thing is that you don't have to wait until 3 years later to actually design your portfolios, but it's a progressive build-up where ABS will actually help you build the platform so that at the end of the 3 years, you have portfolio to submit rather than wait until, at the end of 3 years, then you hustle and then you panic to actually come put together a portfolio. Yeah. Any more questions for me? So like I said, if you see just now what I've done is I've actually run you through what is the main highlights in ABS as compared to GBS and why is it so important? Okay, ABS is actually a new course. If you look at GBS fundamental emphasis was on sustainability and how building can play a part in terms of sustainability. In today's context, sustainability has formed an integral part of businesses. Is no longer an additional thing that businesses look at, but it was more like it is something that I have to do along the way. So because of that, it becomes something that is inched into the curriculum itself, that we do not just look at sustainability. We also need to look at the smartness and the technological part. And ABS comes in to actually fulfill that gap. Basically, while looking at sustainability, we also go on to do our best to look at how, as Singapore moves along to a smart nation, how we play a role in the built environment to help our graduates meet that aspiration and Singapore's aspiration, of course. And that's the main difference between ABS and GBS. The technological emphasis is more now as compared to GBS. And of course, they also, I think, heighten the area on your stimulation, helping people to see the building value and, of course, how the building is going to perform even before it's built. I hope I answered your question. So like I was saying, okay, so this question, built environment is highly linked to the construction industry. Could you elaborate what work you actually do in the FM and how closely is FM linked to the construction industry? Okay, facilities management was not a part of the built environment per se until 2018. We were actually more in real estate, but if you look at real estate, we will also call it to be under the built environment. Construction is also an area that is inside the built environment. So if you look at the job roles that is existing in the built environment itself, construction is actually one tier, FM is one tier, and of course architecture, engineering, we got quantity surveying, project management, civil structure, and M&E, and I can go on and on and on. So if you look at construction itself, it's actually one vertical area on its own, and facilities management is the next. Why would there be a confusion that facilities management is actually in the construction industry? Is because during the pandemic, the lead agency that manages all the pandemic-related processes were all BCA. And if you look at construction industry, BCA is the lead agency that actually governs the construction industry. But at the same time, they are also the same people that govern the facilities management people. So a short answer will be, if you look at construction industry and in the entire life cycle of the building, where let's say this is the start and this is the ending, construction industry actually happens here and facilities management actually happens here. And of course, I wouldn't say that this particular life cycle is finite, because let's say at the construction facilities management stage, where the building need to go into refresh and for a different outlook, there will be a construction stage that comes after the facilities management to give it a new outlook. And if you look at Singapore context, the outlook of our buildings are usually very new, and we revamp our buildings very frequently to actually know that that our building values is always kept up there. So any buildings, if you look at how would I say, Bugis Plus, I think that's one building that has went through massive changes. If you're old enough, you know that Bugis Plus then was called Illuma, and it didn't look like the way it is before. But it went through facilities management stage, then it went into construction again because it need that new outlook. So, and that's how the different how do I put it, the different stages comes into play at a different life cycle of the building. Okay, I have another one. What is the intake each for ABS and IFM? For this year, ABS is actually taking in 75 students, and for IFM, we are taking in 100. GPA, as in how our graduates do, basically, there's a range. The maximum GPA is actually 4.0. Hopefully not, but if you fail enough subject, you actually get less than 2.0. I think most of the students' GPA is between 3 to 3.5. Typically slightly higher for the IFM students, but ABS is there about as well. But of course, the context and of the subject and the area is slightly different. Okay, but typically we have 10% who falls into the 3.5 to 4.0, and most of the students will fall into 3.0 to 3.5. If you are asking about, let's say about the cutoff point, we are the same. Both is at 18 point for the LAS. Okay, like I say, there's the two, if you go to our virtual open house website, there's actually the staff chat and the student chat that is happening there. So the questions did not stop just here. At any point, if you have any questions, please do go there and let us know. We have the staff chat and the student chat. If you feel that you are more comfortable speaking to the students, please click on the student chat, and you can actually talk to them, to find out how their life is in ABS and in IFM. But of course, if you feel that, I wish to speak to a staff because I want to know more about the curriculum design and, my prospects, what the industry has to offer, then of course you can click on the staff chat. Today is the last day for the virtual open house. Next week, we are opening up for JAE. And I think previously, like if you have actually take a screenshot of our Telegram chats, the Telegram is on throughout for the entire period until JAE is over, so that we still continue to answer any questions that the students have in terms of their selection. The questions need not be just pertaining to these two courses. If you have more questions about polytechnic studies, of course, you can actually, okay, I'll just answer one last question here. Would there be advanced standing if I apply to further studies in the university? For university-wise, it very much depends on like how and which course you're applying to. Like for IFM, like I mentioned just now, if you apply to the direct course, which is Project and Facilities Management in NUS, it's actually a 1-year credit exemption. So it's a 4 years program, but most IFM students, when you go there, you have the option to take up to 1 year credit exemption. For ABS, there are various credit exemption for different courses, which I think you can look at it at the website itself. So I will not brief you more on it. But most of the basically, most of the diploma you see in today's context has got some advanced standing, okay? And of course, from IT also, if you're coming into the polytechnic to do our diplomas, you will also have some advanced standing in certain subjects, okay? I mean, just to answer both ways. So because of time, it's about 3:50. Let's see. I'm going to just wrap up here. Like I say, which I repeated and emphasized many times. If you have any questions, please do let us know. In fact, there's many platforms and we have prepared many different avenues for people to ask us, because I think this is the first time we are doing things very differently. I think previous years, the polytechnic are open and you can just walk in and have your questions answered almost immediately. What we're trying to do this year is we are still trying to maintain that level of interactivity, but it's a bit hard because it's remote. But we are definitely trying our best to make sure that everything is there for you to ask. So please do not be shy and you can just ask us if you need. Okay, so my name is Joanne and I'm the course chair for Diploma in Integrated Facility Management. I hope you have a good weekend and all the best for your results on Monday. And I hope to see you in Temasek Polytechnic. Thank you very much. Bye.